DonInLondon, hello, and it's June 30th, 2009. My Logitech camera's just downloaded some software, so I hope I'm recording. My video's all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol; my behaviour, well, it could go any way. Workaholic, relationshipaholic, gymaholic, sports watcher, aholic. I'm not watching Wimbledon, by the way. It's not I don't like tennis. I've just lost my passion for it. I've got more of a passion for living in the daily right now. And what makes my day work? Well, family, community, society, being part of a fellowship which keeps me on track and sober. So the fellowship, Alcoholics Anonymous, I don't speak for it, never can, never will, full of unique, authentic people, being their unique and authentic selves, and taking hold of life again by getting good choices back just for a day. And that's it, really. It's just about getting our choices back for a day and knowing and understanding that the rest of the world is doing is exactly the same thing. So we can't work and live and be on our own, or if we could, it would be a very strange world. But human beings seem to do better in company and learning wisdom from each other. So fellowship, whatever sort, can be really, really helpful, as can any group or group activity or belief or faith. So the key, really, for humans to keep on track with their own lives is good routine, good connection with other people, and knowing how to love, be loved, and have something useful to do. So if those simple criteria, inclusion, love, friendship, or fellowship, and being a part of, and being useful, what more could one ask? I don't know right now. Probably big things, and in the past I know I had ambition, but I don't know what the ambition was to be. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't know now. So what works for me is being a part of these days, rather than excluding myself, isolated, and I suppose with my best friend from years gone by, which was alcohol. It never let me down, or did it? Yes, it did, actually. From the very first drink, it gave me a feeling of taking the edge off. Warmth, fuzzy, you name it, all those things, which was a nice feeling. And then, in the end, it became an awful, isolated, excluded living on the edge of expiration, I guess. Certainly not living a life full of spiritual joy. And for me, spiritual is seeing the truth of now and being able to cope with it to an extent until we actually understand that we have a life plan which is one day long. So coping strategies kept me drinking a long time, or drinking was my coping strategy, I guess. And these days, not drinking is a coping strategy, and then making a life plan one day long seems to be appropriate for me. So that's a bit about me and where I came from. 35 years of trying to do it on my own, exerting self-will, willpower, self-obsession, you name it, and a lot of it about not being loved and not knowing how to love another person, or generally be able to love people for who they are and what they are, without trying to fix them or change them. So these days, the only thing I'm trying to work out, what is the best plan, life plan for today? And the AA fellowship, I talk about it here a lot. I don't speak for it, as I say. And it's full of unique, authentic people who can speak for themselves if they wish to, in their own area of expertise or whatever it is they do. So I like the idea that we can go to a fellowship, get some wisdom how to be sober, and then make the rest of life work. And at every fellowship meeting I go to here in London, and there's 720 to choose from in London, UK, this preamble is shared, which gives a game away about what fellowship can do for us. AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their strength, experience, strength and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help others to achieve sobriety. And as part of that last sentence where it says our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety, it's all part of the key for me, and partly why I do these videos. And they started because a couple of my friends couldn't get out to meetings, and then I found it very cathartic to be able to share experience, strength and hope. and it's just one person's view, so everybody's entitled to their view, and that includes all those people who don't like AA and they found other alternative paths to sobriety. And I say, I take my hat off to you. I don't need to knock anybody for what they do to keep sober, and I certainly don't. Well, I'm challenged on a daily basis about my views and my outlooks, and it's good. And I went to a newcomers meeting last night, which was down the Fulham Road at the Servite Church Hall, for the nursery school actually. And it was good to see people I've known a long time still going to newcomers meetings, because they get a lot from hearing what newcomers say. And it's a reminder of the horror of the past often, where we couldn't stop drinking. We were on death's door, some of us were for sure, and some people were on the way to a very sticky end. And there's nothing good about addiction, really. Nothing good, except that maybe in the end we learn how to be ourselves, just for one day. And what helps me here is sharing the literature of AA, like Daily Reflections, and As Bill Sees It. And the fellowship has a 12-step program of action. It's action into learning from experience. It's not about book learning as such. Well, the 12 steps are, to an extent, and then they become part of experiential development. We experience life and we develop. And for June 30th, being the end of the month, in the Daily Reflections, it says, sacrifice, unity, survival. The unity, the effectiveness, and even the survival of AA will always depend upon our continued willingness to give up some of our personal ambitions and desires for the common safety and welfare. Just as sacrifice means survival for the individual alcoholic, so does sacrifice mean unity and survival for the group and for AA's entire fellowship. And it's a fellowship of equal-sized people, and as I say, unique and authentic. It goes on to say, I have learned that I must sacrifice some of my personal traits for the good of AA, and as a result I have been rewarded with many gifts. False pride can be inflated through prestige, but by living Tradition 6, I received the gift of humility instead, which is about sacrifice, unity and survival. Cooperation without affiliation is often deceiving. If I remain unrelated to outside interests, I am free to keep AA autonomous. Then the fellowship will be there, healthy and strong for generations to come, which is why we stress, or it is stressed in the literature, that AA has no outside interests. And certainly it shouldn't have any outside interests about what I do here, but I'm sure there are a lot of people in it who do, some for and some against, which is all right. We need freedom to make our choices, and in this book, As Bill Sees It, Basis of All Humility, page 139, but just so long as we were convinced that we could live exclusively by our own individual strength and intelligence, for just that long was a working faith in a higher power impossible. That is, if we try to do it all our own way, we don't really keep connected to the rest of humanity. This was true even when we believed that God existed. We could actually have earnest religious beliefs, which remained barren because we were still trying to play God ourselves. As long as we placed self-reliance first, a genuine reliance upon a higher power was out of the question. The basic ingredient of all humility, a desire to seek and do God's will, was missing. And whether you believe, whether you have a religious belief or an understanding of that, the higher power could be good conscience that we have, or we are working better in connection, inclusion, friendship, fellowship and love, all those things, and even in society, family and community. It's so important that we are integral and integrated. And if we're not, we can find ourselves very isolated, excluded, and going back to drinking very quickly, because it's a very lonely life. And some of my past history was helping people at the top of organisations sort out their personal stuff as well as their working environment, because the higher they went up those hierarchies of authority, power and control, it became a very lonely place where self-will, self-obsession and grandiosity really do put the dampeners on life. And it's very lonely. So inclusion, love, friendship, fellowship, all about choices and being a part of. Anyway, I'm coming to the end. So, the end of June, gosh. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change today, courage to change the things I can today, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today.